Youngblood, 1986. Youngblood gave Reeves his first feature film role, and the hockey setting fit his real background as a high school goalie nicknamed The Wall. It was a small part, but an unusually personal starting point for his screen career. Flying, 1986. Flying kept Reeves close to his Canadian roots, placing him in a teenage gymnastics drama before Hollywood had defined his image. The modest production shows how steadily he built experience through regional films rather than arriving as an instant star. River's Edge, 1986. River's Edge was an important early dramatic step, surrounding Reeves with a darker, more serious, independent story. The film's strong critical reputation helped prove he could handle unsettling material, not only youthful romance or light comedy. The Night Before, 1988. The Night Before gave Reeves an early leading comedy role in a chaotic prom night adventure. Its goofy energy anticipated the relaxed comic timing that would soon make Bill and Ted successful, while still showing him learning to carry a movie. Permanent Record, 1988. Permanent Record allowed Reeves to play grief and responsibility in a serious teenage drama, earning praise for his performance. He also played rhythm guitar on a Joe Strummer soundtrack, connecting his acting career with his growing interest in music. The Prince of Pennsylvania, 1988. The Prince of Pennsylvania placed Reeves at the center of an eccentric independent comedy drama that premiered in Toronto but received only a tiny theatrical release. It reflects the experimental, unpredictable choices he made before becoming commercially established. Dangerous Liaison, 1988. Dangerous Liaison brought Reeves into a prestigious period production alongside Glenn Close, John Malkovich, and Michelle Pfeiffer. Although his role was supporting, appearing in an acclaimed Oscar-winning film gave his young resume valuable dramatic credibility. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, 1989. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure created the cheerful, slow-talking character that first made Reeves widely recognizable. The comedy became a lasting favorite, launched his first major franchise, and established a playful image he would spend years expanding beyond. Parenthood, 1989. Parenthood placed Reeves inside Ron Howard's successful ensemble comedy, where his warm performance as Todd made a small character memorable. The hit broadened his audience and showed that his laid-back personality could work within a major studio cast. I Love You to Death, 1990. I Love You to Death teamed Reeves with River Phoenix before their more famous collaboration in My Own Private Idaho. The dark ensemble comedy let him play an eccentric supporting character among established actors, continuing his move into higher-profile productions. Tune In Tomorrow, 1990. Tune In Tomorrow gave Reeves a romantic leading role opposite Barbara Hershey, with Peter Falk adding comic chaos. Adapted from a Mario Vargas Llosa novel, it was an unusually literary project during his transition from youth films to adult roles. Point Break, 1991. Point Break transformed Reeves into a convincing action lead while preserving his youthful, open quality. His partnership with Patrick Swayze helped the movie become a cult favorite and created the first strong blueprint for his later physical screen persona. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, 1991. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey took the franchise in a stranger, darker, and more surreal direction. Although it earned less than the original, its inventive humor and William Sadler's death helped it develop a strong cult following. My Own Private Idaho, 1991. My Own Private Idaho gave Reeves major independent film credibility through Gus Van Sant's unconventional drama. Working beside River Phoenix revealed a quieter, more vulnerable side of his acting and proved he was willing to choose challenging material between studio projects. Bram Stoker's Dracula, 1992. Bram Stoker's Dracula placed Reeves in Francis Ford Coppola's lavish Gothic production, one of the biggest prestige films of his early career. His performance received criticism, but the movie's enormous success kept him visible on an international scale. Much Ado About Nothing, 1993. Much Ado About Nothing added Shakespeare to Reeves's resume and surrounded him with Kenneth Branagh's celebrated ensemble. Playing the bitter Don John was another deliberate move away from his friendly comic image, even if the role remained relatively small. Even Cowgirls Get the Blues, 1993. Even Cowgirls Get the Blues reunited Reeves with Gus Van Sant, but much of his character's material was reduced during post-production. The troubled release became an example of how independent experimentation could produce unpredictable results, even with a notable cast. Little Buddha, 1993, Little Buddha offered Reeves one of his most unusual transformations, portraying Prince Siddhartha in Bernardo Bertolucci's international spiritual drama. The role expanded his image beyond contemporary American characters and connected him with a major European filmmaker. Speed, 1994. Speed made Reeves a full-scale action star. The movie became a surprise worldwide blockbuster, won 2 Academy Awards, and proved he could anchor a high-pressure studio production, permanently changing both his salary level and Hollywood status. Johnny Mnemonic, 1995. Johnny Mnemonic pushed Reeves into cyberpunk years before The Matrix, adapting a William Gibson story filled with digital networks and corporate control. Its reception was mixed, but the film became a fascinating preview of the futuristic identity he later perfected. A Walk in the Clouds, 1995. A Walk in the Clouds repositioned Reeves as a traditional romantic leading man after 2 major action films. The commercially successful period drama used its vineyard setting and old-fashioned tone to reveal a softer, more earnest screen presence. Chain Reaction, 1996. Chain Reaction continued Hollywood's effort to build Reeves into a dependable action star after Speed. Pairing him with Morgan Freeman gave the thriller considerable scale, but its modest commercial response showed that not every expensive vehicle could repeat Speed's impact. Feeling Minnesota, 1996. Feeling Minnesota moved Reeves back toward smaller, stranger material, pairing him with Cameron Diaz in a dark romantic crime comedy. The project reflected his habit of alternating mainstream action roles with offbeat independent films that challenged audience expectations. The Last Time I Committed Suicide, 1997. The Last Time I Committed Suicide was a low-budget adaptation connected to Jack Kerouac's beat-era writing. Reeves joined an ensemble rather than carrying the film, maintaining his relationship with independent cinema between much larger studio productions. The Devil's Advocate, 1997. The Devil's Advocate paired Reeves with Al Pacino and a rising Charlize Theron in a stylish supernatural thriller. Its strong box office and demanding lead role restored momentum and presented him as a more mature dramatic star. The Matrix, 1999. The Matrix completely redefined Reeves's career and modern action filmmaking. Neo became his signature role, while the movie's visual effects, martial arts choreography, and philosophical ideas turned a risky science fiction project into a global cultural phenomenon. The Replacements, 2000. The Replacements returned Reeves to approachable comedy after the intensity of The Matrix. Playing an underdog quarterback allowed him to combine physical confidence with modest charm, reinforcing the everyman quality that often balanced his more mythic action characters. The Watcher, 2000. The Watcher cast Reeves against type as a calculating villain rather than a heroic lead. The production became associated with a disputed contract story, but the role still demonstrated his willingness to disrupt the audience's expectations immediately after The Matrix. The Gift, 2000. The Gift gave Reeves another sharply unsympathetic supporting role in Sam Raimi's Southern Gothic thriller. Working within a strong ensemble, he deliberately set aside his action star appeal and showed audiences a harsher, more threatening screen presence. Sweet November, 2001. Sweet November reunited Reeves with Charlize Theron in a romantic drama only a few years after The Devil's Advocate. The film received poor reviews, yet it reinforced his continuing appeal as a sincere romantic lead between major action projects. Hardball, 2001. Hardball placed Reeves in a sports drama about an unlikely coach and a youth baseball team. The role emphasized his understated warmth, offering a grounded change of pace before he returned to the massive Matrix sequels. The Matrix Reloaded, 2003. The Matrix Reloaded expanded Neo from mysterious hero into the center of a massive franchise. Its record-breaking commercial performance made it the series' biggest theatrical success and confirmed Reeves as one of the defining blockbuster stars of the early 2000s. The Matrix Revolutions, 2003. The Matrix Revolutions arrived only 6 months after Reloaded because the sequels were filmed back-to-back. Its simultaneous worldwide release and IMAX presentation turned the original trilogy's conclusion into a major global event, despite more divided critical reactions. Something's Gotta Give, 2003. Something's Gotta Give used Reeves's calm charm in a supporting romantic role opposite Diane Keaton. The successful comedy introduced him to an older mainstream audience and demonstrated that he could be appealing without action, science fiction, or youthful rebellion. Constantine, 2005. Constantine gave Reeves a new comic book anti-hero and a darker, supernatural image. Initial reviews were mixed, but the film developed a loyal following over time, making John Constantine one of his most requested roles outside Neo and John Wick. Thumbsucker, 2005. Thumbsucker placed Reeves in a quirky independent comedy as an unconventional orthodontist who becomes an unexpected mentor. The small role let him use dry humor and gentle authority, offering a relaxed contrast to the supernatural scale of Constantine. A Scanner Darkly, 2006. A Scanner darkly combined live-action performances with frame-by-frame rotoscope animation, giving Reeves one of his most visually distinctive projects. Richard Linklater's Philip K. Dick adaptation strengthened his connection to thoughtful science fiction rather than conventional blockbuster spectacle. The Lake House, 2006. The Lake House reunited Reeves and Sandra Bullock 12 years after Speed, but replaced action with a time-bending romance. Their established chemistry helped the film succeed commercially and reminded audiences that their partnership worked even in a completely different genre. Street Kings, 2008. Street Kings returned Reeves to hard-edged urban action as a morally compromised Los Angeles detective. Written from a James Ellroy story and directed by David Ayer, the film pushed his screen image toward grittier, less idealized authority figures. The Day the Earth Stood Still, 2008. The Day the Earth Stood Still placed Reeves at the center of an expensive remake of a science fiction classic. His restrained style suited the alien Klaatu, although the film's mixed reception showed the difficulty of modernizing such a respected original. The Private Lives of Pippa Lee, 2009. The Private Lives of Pippa Lee brought Reeves into Rebecca Miller's ensemble and premiered at the Berlin Film Festival. His understated role opposite Robin Wright offered a mature, intimate alternative to the large genre movies associated with him. Henry's Crime, 2010. Henry's Crime gave Reeves greater creative involvement as both star and producer. The low-key caper comedy, featuring Vera Farmiga and James Caan, reflected his growing interest in shaping smaller projects instead of depending entirely on major studio franchises. Generation 2012. Generation was an extremely small New York drama built around drifting characters and everyday conversations. Its minimalist style placed Reeves far from blockbuster expectations, illustrating how willingly he continued taking low-profile risks during a commercially uncertain career period. Man of Tai Chi, 2013. Man of Tai Chi marked Reeves's feature directorial debut and drew on his long-standing interest in martial arts. Filmed across China and Hong Kong, it allowed him to guide the action behind the camera while playing the main antagonist. 47. Ronin, 2013. Ronin was one of the largest and most troubled productions of Reeves's career. The fantasy epic performed poorly against its enormous budget, creating a major setback just 1 year before a much smaller action film unexpectedly revived his career. John Wick, 2014. John Wick became one of Hollywood's most remarkable career comebacks. Made on a relatively modest budget, its precise action choreography, emotional simplicity, and Reeves's committed physical performance created a new signature character and launched an unexpectedly valuable franchise. Knock Knock, 2015. Knock Knock removed Reeves's usual physical control, casting him as a family man trapped in an escalating psychological thriller. Serving as producer and star, he embraced discomfort and vulnerability instead of repeating his newly revived action image. Exposed, 2016. Exposed reached theaters after major creative disagreements changed the director's original version, leading him to use a pseudonym. The troubled release limited the film's impact, making it a reminder that Reeves's independent projects could still face serious distribution problems. The Neon Demon, 2016. The Neon Demon gave Reeves a disturbing supporting role in Nicholas Winding Refn's highly stylized fashion world horror film. Its Cannes competition premiere and polarized response placed him inside provocative art house cinema, while John Wick was rebuilding his mainstream popularity. The Bad Batch, 2016. The Bad Batch continued Reeves's art house streak with director Anna Lilia Mirpur and a deliberately eccentric supporting character. Premiering at the Venice Film Festival, the film showed him using his fame to strengthen unusual ensemble projects rather than dominate them. The Whole Truth, 2016. The Whole Truth returned Reeves to courtroom drama as a defense attorney, with Renee Zellweger in a key supporting role. He joined after Daniel Craig left the project, giving the modest thriller a recognizable lead during a busy independent film period. John Wick, Chapter 2, 2017. John Wick, Chapter 2 proved the first movie was not a one-time comeback. The sequel expanded the secret criminal world, increased the scale of the action, and earned much more worldwide, firmly establishing John Wick as a continuing franchise. A Happening of Monumental Proportions, 2017. A Happening of Monumental Proportions was a brief ensemble appearance in Judy Greer's directorial debut. Reeves accepted a small comic role as John Wick expanded, showing that franchise success did not stop him from making modest cameos. Siberia, 2018. Siberia combined a romantic relationship with an international crime story and gave Reeves another producer credit. The independent film received limited attention, but it continued his pattern of supporting smaller productions between increasingly successful John Wick installments. Destination Wedding, 2018. Destination Wedding reunited Reeves with Winona Ryder in an unusually dialogue-heavy romantic comedy focused almost entirely on two difficult guests. Their long professional history gave the film an easy familiarity, while the format depended more on timing than spectacle. Replicas, 2018. Replicas placed Reeves in another science fiction story about technology, identity, and human consciousness, while also crediting him as a producer. The film struggled critically and commercially, showing that his John Wick resurgence did not automatically transfer to every genre project. John Wick, Chapter 3, Parabellum, 2019. Parabellum pushed the franchise onto a much larger international stage and became its biggest hit at that time. Strong reviews and spectacular choreography confirmed that Reeves's second action star era was still gaining momentum. The SpongeBob Movie, Sponge on the Run, 2020. The SpongeBob movie used Reeves's famously calm public image for an absurd visual joke, presenting him as a wise face inside a rolling tumbleweed. The self-aware cameo showed how fully his internet-friendly personality had become part of popular culture. Bill and Ted Face the Music, 2020. Bill and Ted Face the Music brought Reeves and Alex Winter back nearly 3 decades after their previous adventure. The warm legacy sequel treated the characters as middle-aged friends, turning youthful nostalgia into a story about family, collaboration, and persistence. The Matrix Resurrections, 2021. The Matrix Resurrections returned Reeves to Neo after 18 years through a deliberately self-aware story. Lana Wachowski's sequel divided audiences, but transformed the reunion into a reflection on memory, identity, and Hollywood's obsession with familiar properties. John Wick, Chapter 4, 2023. John Wick, Chapter 4 became the franchise's highest-grossing and most critically celebrated installment. Its international locations, elaborate set pieces, and nearly 3-hour scale turned Reeves's comeback character into the center of a modern action epic. Ballerina, 2025. Ballerina brought Reeves back as John Wick in a supporting role, while Ana de Armas led the franchise's first theatrical spin-off. His presence connected the new protagonist to the established world without making the film another standard John Wick sequel. Good Fortune, 2025. Good Fortune let Reeves lean fully into comedy as a well-meaning but inexperienced angel. Appearing alongside Aziz Ansari, Seth Rogen, and Keke Palmer, he used his serene screen image for humor rather than action or science fiction seriousness.